The relentless march of global warming had finally reached its climax. As I stood on the rooftop of our once bustling research facility, the skyline of New York City shimmered with a cruel irony, beautiful yet deadly. The oppressive heat had transformed familiar landscapes into something almost unrecognizable. Skyscrapers looked like mirages in a desert, distorted by the waves of heat rising from the asphalt below. My name is Dr. Emily Carter, and I am one of the lead scientists in the most ambitious project humanity has ever undertaken. When I was a child, I dreamed of exploring new worlds. Little did I know that those dreams would collide with a nightmare scenario that threatened the very existence of our species. The year was 2045, and Earth had become a hostile environment. Decades of unchecked pollution, deforestation, and greenhouse gas emissions had finally taken their toll. Temperatures soared to unimaginable heights, polar ice caps melted at alarming rates, and coastal cities were swallowed by the encroaching seas. It was a world on the brink of collapse. In the midst of this chaos, a radical idea was born. What if we could siphon off the excess heat from Earth and use it to warm Mars, transforming it into a habitable refuge for humanity? It sounded like science fiction, but desperation can drive innovation like nothing else. Our team of scientists, engineers, and visionaries embarked on this unprecedented journey with a singular goal: to save our species from extinction. Our mission was fraught with challenges. The logistics of such an operation were staggering. We had to develop technology capable of transferring heat across millions of miles, find ways to sustain life on a barren planet, and manage the inevitable political and social upheaval that would come with such a monumental shift. Yet, in the face of adversity, we pressed on. We worked around the clock, driven by the knowledge that failure was not an option. Our experiments progressed from theoretical models to tangible results, and slowly, hope began to replace despair. This book chronicles our journey from the dying embers of Earth to the dawn of a new civilization on Mars. It is a tale of survival, resilience, and the indomitable human spirit. Through the eyes of one who lived it, you will experience the highs and lows, the triumphs and setbacks, and ultimately the rebirth of humanity. Join me as I recount the events that led to the greatest exodus in human history. From the initial spark of an idea to the first steps on Martian soil, this is the story of how we overcame the insurmountable and found a way to thrive in the face of extinction. The summer of 2045 was unlike any other. I remember the suffocating heat that clung to every surface, the way the air seemed to shimmer and bend under the relentless sun. It was during this time that the reality of our situation became undeniable. Reports flooded in from every corner of the globe: unprecedented heat waves, wildfires raging out of control, and ecosystems collapsing under the strain. As I walked through the halls of the Global Climate Research Center, the atmosphere was thick with tension. Conversations were hushed, and every screen displayed some form of catastrophe. The scientists and engineers around me wore expressions of grim determination, their faces lined with worry and fatigue. We all knew that our window of opportunity was closing rapidly. In the past, we had believed that incremental changes and gradual adaptations would be enough to stave off disaster. But now, the magnitude of the crisis demanded bold, decisive action. Our team, a coalition of the brightest minds from around the world, had been working on a radical solution for years, but the events of that summer added a new urgency to our efforts. The concept of siphoning Earth's excess heat to Mars was not new. It had been floated in scientific circles as a theoretical possibility, but the technological and logistical challenges had always seemed insurmountable. However, the desperate times called for desperate measures, and what was once dismissed as fantasy became our best hope for survival. We started with intensive brainstorming sessions, gathering data and exploring every conceivable angle. The idea was to develop a series of massive heat collectors that could absorb and store the thermal energy from Earth. These collectors would then transfer the heat to a fleet of specially designed spacecraft equipped with advanced propulsion systems capable of making the journey to Mars. I remember the first time I saw the prototype for the heat collectors. They were colossal structures, resembling giant sunflowers, with reflective surfaces designed to maximize the capture of solar energy. The engineering team had outdone themselves, and for the first time in months, I felt a flicker of hope. Our initial tests were promising. We set up smaller versions of the collectors in various locations around the globe, monitoring their performance and making adjustments as needed. The data we gathered was invaluable, providing us with the insights we needed to scale up the project. But progress was not without its setbacks. There were numerous technical challenges to overcome, from the durability of the materials to the efficiency of the energy transfer systems. We worked around the clock, driven by the knowledge that our efforts could mean the difference between life and death for billions of people. The political landscape was equally challenging. Convincing world leaders to invest in such a radical project required a delicate balance of diplomacy and persuasion. There were countless meetings, presentations, and negotiations as we sought to secure the funding and resources necessary to move forward. Despite the obstacles, we made significant strides. By the end of that summer, we had a working prototype and a detailed plan for the next phases of the project. The sense of camaraderie and shared purpose among our team was palpable. We were united by a common goal, determined to see it through no matter the cost. As the days grew shorter and the heat began to wane, we knew that our real work was just beginning. The success of the heat collectors was only the first step. The next phase involved developing the spacecraft that would transport the energy to Mars, a task that posed its own set of formidable challenges. Looking back, that summer marked a turning point. It was the moment when we fully grasped the enormity of the task before us, but also the moment when hope began to take root. We were on the brink of a new era, one that would see humanity reach beyond the confines of our beleaguered planet and embrace a future among the stars. The months following the initial success of our heat collectors were a whirlwind of activity. With the prototype proving its viability, we shifted our focus to the next critical component of our plan, the spacecraft that would ferry the captured heat to Mars. The engineering team, led by Dr. Raj Patel, faced an uphill battle. Traditional spacecraft were ill-suited for the task at hand. We needed vessels capable of withstanding extreme temperatures, equipped with propulsion systems powerful enough to traverse the vast distance between Earth and Mars. Moreover, they had to be efficient, reliable, and capable of operating autonomously. Our solution came in the form of a novel design inspired by a combination of space shuttles and nuclear submarines. These new spacecraft, which we dubbed thermal arcs, were equipped with advanced thermal shielding and cutting-edge propulsion technology. The thermal arcs would harness nuclear fusion to generate the immense power required for their journey, while sophisticated AI systems would ensure their precise navigation and operation. As we moved from design to production, the scale of our undertaking became apparent. Building a fleet of thermal arcs required resources and coordination on an unprecedented level. Factories that once produced automobiles and consumer electronics were repurposed to manufacture components for our spacecraft. The global economy began to pivot, with nations coming together in a collaborative effort reminiscent of the international cooperation scene during the space race of the 20th century. However, not everyone was on board. Skepticism and opposition arose from various quarters. Some argued that our resources would be better spent on immediate relief efforts and adaptation measures. Others questioned the feasibility of our plan, fearing it was too ambitious and fraught with risk. The media was divided, with headlines ranging from hopeful endorsements to scathing critiques. Amidst the controversy, we pressed on. Each step forward was met with a mixture of triumph and trepidation. The first thermal arc, aptly named Hope, was completed ahead of schedule. Watching it roll out of the assembly line, a sleek, imposing figure gleaming under the factory lights, was a moment of profound pride and relief. The launch of Hope was a global event. People gathered around screens in homes, schools, and public squares, their faces reflecting a mixture of anticipation and anxiety. The countdown began, and with each passing second, the weight of our endeavor became more palpable. When the thermal arc finally lifted off, propelled by a powerful surge of energy, a collective cheer erupted around the world. Hope's journey to Mars was meticulously monitored by mission control. As it traveled through the vacuum of space, it was a beacon of our collective determination and ingenuity. The data transmitted back was encouraging, confirming that the systems were functioning as designed. Upon reaching Martian orbit, Hope began the delicate process of releasing its stored thermal energy, initiating the first step in our terraforming efforts. The success of Hope's mission was a turning point. It validated our approach and silenced many of the critics. Buoyed by this achievement, we accelerated the production and launch of additional thermal arcs. Each new mission brought us closer to our goal of making Mars habitable. While the scientific and technical challenges were immense, the social and psychological aspects of our project were equally daunting. Preparing humanity for the eventual migration to Mars required a paradigm shift in how we viewed our place in the universe. Educational campaigns were launched to inform and inspire the public. Schools introduced new curricula focused on space exploration and planetary science. Artists, writers, and filmmakers began to envision and depict life on Mars, helping to shape a collective vision of our future. I found myself at the center of this transformative period, my days filled with meetings, presentations, and sleepless nights poring over data. Despite the exhaustion, there was a sense of exhilaration. We were witnessing history in the making, playing a part in what could be humanity's greatest achievement. As more thermal arcs embarked on their journeys, the impact on Mars became increasingly evident. The planet's atmosphere began to change, its surface warming gradually. The scientific community was abuzz with excitement, each new development sparking a flurry of research and innovation. The process was slow and painstaking, but progress was undeniable. For the first time in years, there was a tangible sense of hope. The dream of a new home for humanity was no longer a distant fantasy but a burgeoning reality. With the successful deployment of the thermal arcs and the gradual warming of Mars, our focus shifted to the next phase of our mission, preparing the planet for human habitation. This involved not only transforming the Martian environment but also developing the infrastructure needed to support life. The Martian landscape, while desolate and inhospitable, held a stark beauty. Its red sands and towering volcanoes evoked a sense of both wonder and challenge. As a child, I had often gazed up at the night sky, dreaming of distant worlds. Now, standing on the cusp of realizing those dreams, I felt a profound connection to the ancient explorers who had ventured into the unknown. Our first step was to establish a series of research outposts across the planet. These outposts would serve as hubs for scientific research and experimentation, allowing us to better understand the Martian environment and test new technologies. We selected several strategic locations, including the polar ice caps, where water, a crucial resource for sustaining life, was most abundant. I was part of the initial team dispatched to set up the first outpost, named Pioneer 1. The journey to Mars was both exhilarating and nerve-wracking. As our spacecraft descended through the thin Martian atmosphere, I couldn't help but marvel at the alien landscape unfolding below. When we finally touched down, the sense of achievement was overwhelming. We were the first humans to set foot on Mars, pioneers in every sense of the word. Setting up Pioneer 1 was an arduous task. The harsh conditions and limited resources tested our resilience and ingenuity. We had to rely on advanced robotics and autonomous systems to assist with construction and maintenance. Despite the challenges, we made steady progress, and within a few months, the outpost was fully operational. Life at Pioneer 1 was both thrilling and grueling. We worked long hours, conducting experiments, analyzing data, and developing new technologies. The outpost was a hive of activity, with scientists and engineers from diverse backgrounds collaborating on a common goal. Despite the isolation and the ever-present risks, there was a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose that kept us going. One of our primary objectives was to develop sustainable methods for producing food, water, and oxygen on Mars. This involved a combination of hydroponics, atmospheric processing, and recycling systems. Our experiments in these areas yielded promising results, paving the way for future colonies to thrive. As we settled into our routines, we began to explore the surrounding areas. Mars was a treasure trove of scientific discoveries, from ancient riverbeds hinting at past water flow to mysterious geological formations that challenged our understanding of planetary science. Each new discovery added to our knowledge and fueled our determination to transform Mars into a new home for humanity. Back on Earth, our progress was met with a mixture of awe and skepticism. While many celebrated our achievements, others remained doubtful of our ability to sustain a permanent presence on Mars. The media coverage was relentless, with every success and setback dissected and debated. Despite the scrutiny, we remained focused on our mission. As more outposts were established and the Martian atmosphere continued to warm, the dream of a habitable Mars began to take shape. We saw the first signs of liquid water on the surface, a crucial milestone in our terraforming efforts. The atmosphere, though still thin and hostile, showed gradual improvements in temperature and composition. Our efforts attracted the attention of governments, corporations, and private individuals, all eager to play a part in humanity's next great adventure. Investments poured in, fueling further advancements and accelerating our progress. The vision of a thriving Martian civilization seemed within reach. Yet the journey was far from over. We faced countless challenges, from technical setbacks and resource shortages to the psychological toll of living in such an extreme environment. The isolation and the constant awareness of the risks took a toll on many of us. We had to develop new ways to support mental health and maintain morale. Through it all, we remained driven by a sense of purpose. The stakes were too high to allow for complacency. We were not just working to save our species from extinction. We were forging a new path for humanity, one that transcended the boundaries of our home planet. As I looked out over the red plains of Mars, I felt a deep sense of gratitude and responsibility. We were standing at the threshold of a new era, one that held both immense promise and profound challenges. Our journey was just beginning, and the future of humanity depended on our ability to rise to the occasion. With the initial success of our outposts and the ongoing terraforming efforts, the time had come to prepare for the mass migration of humanity to Mars. This monumental undertaking, known as the Exodus, required meticulous planning, coordination, and unprecedented collaboration among nations. The logistical challenges were staggering. Transporting millions of people across space, along with the necessary supplies, equipment, and infrastructure, required a fleet of spacecraft and a well-orchestrated schedule. We developed a multi-phase plan, starting with the transportation of essential personnel, scientists, engineers, medical professionals, and skilled workers, followed by the gradual relocation of families and individuals. The first wave of settlers, including myself, prepared for the journey with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. We underwent rigorous training, learning to operate advanced life support systems, handle emergencies, and adapt to the unique challenges of life on Mars. Each of us carried a personal connection to Earth, a memory, a keepsake, a reminder of the world we were leaving behind. As launch day approached, the atmosphere was charged with emotion. Families gathered for tearful farewells, friends exchanged hopeful promises, and communities came together to support those embarking on this historic journey. The sense of collective endeavor was palpable, as people from all walks of life united in the face of our shared destiny. The journey itself was a marvel of modern engineering. Our spacecraft, equipped with the latest advancements in propulsion and life support technology, made the trip to Mars in a fraction of the time it took for earlier missions. Despite the relative comfort and efficiency, the experience of traveling through the void of space was both awe-inspiring and humbling. We were pioneers venturing into the unknown, leaving behind the only home our species had ever known. Upon arrival, we were greeted by the sight of a transformed landscape. Mars was still a harsh and challenging environment, but the changes brought about by our terraforming efforts were evident. The atmosphere was warmer, and patches of green, carefully cultivated by our teams, dotted the landscape. It was a fragile yet hopeful beginning, a testament to our ingenuity and determination. Settling into our new home required immense adaptation. The outposts, now expanded into burgeoning colonies, were designed to support a growing population. We faced numerous challenges, from constructing habitats and infrastructure to establishing sustainable food and water sources. The initial months were a blur of activity, with everyone working tirelessly to build a new society from the ground up. The social dynamics of our new community were complex. People from diverse backgrounds and cultures had to learn to live and work together in close quarters. We established governing bodies and community organizations to manage resources, mediate conflicts, and foster a sense of belonging. Education and cultural exchange programs were introduced to help new settlers adapt and thrive. As more waves of settlers arrived, the colonies grew and evolved. We built schools, hospitals, recreational facilities, and places of worship. Art and culture began to flourish, with Martian artists and creators finding inspiration in the unique environment. The spirit of innovation and exploration was a constant presence, driving us to push the boundaries of what was possible. Despite the progress, life on Mars was not without its hardships. The isolation from Earth, the constant awareness of the fragility of our environment, and the ever-present risks of living on an alien planet weighed heavily on many of us. Mental health support and community-building initiatives became crucial components of our settlement efforts. One of the most significant milestones was the birth of the first child on Mars. This event was celebrated with great joy and symbolic importance. It marked the beginning of a new generation, born on a different world, with a unique connection to the future of humanity. The child, named Hope, embodied the dreams and aspirations of all those who had come to Mars seeking a new beginning. As we continued to build and grow, the bonds between our Martian colonies and Earth remained strong. Regular communication and supply missions ensured that we stayed connected to our home planet. Earth, though struggling with its own challenges, remained a vital partner in our endeavor. The exchange of knowledge, resources, and support was essential for the success of both worlds. Looking back on those early days of the Exodus, I am filled with a sense of pride and wonder. We had accomplished what once seemed impossible, creating a new home for humanity on Mars. The journey was far from over, and the road ahead was fraught with challenges. But we had proven that with courage, determination, and unity, we could overcome the greatest obstacles and forge a path to a brighter future. As the initial waves of settlers adapted to life on Mars, the focus shifted to long-term sustainability and growth. The Martian soil, though rich in certain minerals, lacked the organic matter and nutrients necessary for traditional agriculture. We had to develop innovative methods to cultivate the land and ensure a stable food supply for our growing population. One of our first breakthroughs came from a hybrid approach combining hydroponics and aeroponics. These systems allowed us to grow crops without soil, using nutrient-rich water and mist to nourish the plants. Our greenhouses, initially small and experimental, expanded rapidly as we refined our techniques and scaled up production. The sight of vibrant green crops thriving under artificial lights was a beacon of hope in the stark Martian landscape. In parallel, we conducted extensive research into the potential for bioengineering Martian soil. Our scientists experimented with various microorganisms and organic additives, seeking to create a viable soil substrate. Over time, we began to see promising results, with certain areas showing signs of fertility. These efforts were crucial for the eventual goal of open-air farming on Mars, a vision that seemed increasingly attainable. Water management was another critical challenge. While the polar ice caps provided a valuable source of water, efficient extraction and distribution systems were essential. We developed advanced desalination and recycling technologies to maximize our water resources. Each drop was precious, and our community learned to live with a deep appreciation for conservation. Life on Mars required constant innovation and adaptation. Our engineers worked tirelessly to improve habitat designs, ensuring they were resilient to the planet's harsh conditions. New materials and construction techniques were developed, allowing us to build more durable and energy-efficient structures. The colonies grew vertically and horizontally, with interconnected domes and tunnels creating a network of safe havens for our settlers. Social adaptation was equally important. The sense of community, so vital in the early days, continued to evolve. We established cultural centers and community spaces where people could gather, share stories, and celebrate milestones. The arts flourished, with Martian music, theater, and visual arts reflecting the unique experiences and aspirations of our society. Education was a cornerstone of our adaptation efforts. Schools and universities were established, offering curricula that combined Earth-based knowledge with new disciplines specific to Martian life. Children born on Mars, like Hope, grew up with a dual heritage, learning about both their ancestral home and their new world. This generation, the first to truly belong to two planets, held the promise of a future that transcended the boundaries of Earth. Health and well-being were prioritized, with advanced medical facilities and research centers dedicated to addressing the unique challenges of living on Mars. The lower gravity, increased radiation, and psychological stresses required new medical approaches and treatments. Our doctors and scientists collaborated closely, developing innovative solutions to ensure the health and longevity of our settlers. As we continued to adapt and thrive, we also faced new and unexpected challenges. The Martian environment, while gradually becoming more hospitable, remained unpredictable. Dust storms, equipment failures, and resource shortages tested our resilience. Each setback was a reminder of the fragile balance we maintained, and each success reinforced our determination to persevere. One of the most significant challenges was maintaining the delicate balance between technological advancement and environmental stewardship. As we transformed Mars, we were acutely aware of the need to preserve its unique features and protect its nascent ecosystems. Our approach to terraforming was guided by principles of sustainability and respect for the planet we now called home. The process of adaptation was a continuous journey, marked by both triumphs and trials. We learned to live with uncertainty, to embrace change, and to find strength in our shared purpose. The sense of connection between individuals, between colonies, and between Mars and Earth was a source of resilience and inspiration. As I walked through the bustling streets of our growing colony, I often reflected on how far we had come. The dream of a new home for humanity on Mars, once a distant vision, had become a living reality. We had created a society that, despite its challenges, was vibrant and full of potential. The journey was far from over. Each day brought new discoveries, new innovations, and new challenges. But with each step, we moved closer to realizing the full potential of our new world. Mars, once a distant and desolate frontier, was becoming a place where humanity could thrive and grow. As we continued to adapt to our alien soil, we carried with us the lessons of Earth, the importance of community, the value of innovation, and the necessity of stewardship. These principles guided us as we built a future that honored our past and embraced the possibilities of a new beginning. Life on Mars, while increasingly promising, was far from easy. Each day brought a new set of challenges that tested our ingenuity and resilience. As the first generation of Martian settlers, we were pioneers in the truest sense, carving out a new existence on a planet that was both beautiful and unforgiving. One of the most pressing challenges we faced was maintaining the integrity of our habitats. The Martian environment, though gradually becoming more hospitable, remained harsh. Dust storms, in particular, posed a significant threat. These storms, driven by the planet's thin atmosphere, could last for weeks and reach speeds of over 60 miles per hour, blanketing everything in fine, red dust. Our habitats were designed to withstand these conditions, but the storms still caused disruptions. Solar panels, crucial for energy production, often became coated with dust, reducing their efficiency. We developed automated cleaning systems to combat this issue, but they were not foolproof. Maintenance teams worked around the clock to keep our energy infrastructure operational. Radiation was another constant concern. Mars lacks a protective magnetic field and a thick atmosphere like Earth's, exposing us to higher levels of cosmic and solar radiation. Our habitats were shielded with layers of protective material, and we implemented strict protocols for time spent outside in EVA, extravehicular activity, suits. However, long-term exposure remained a risk, and our medical teams monitored settlers closely for any signs of radiation-related health issues. The psychological toll of living on Mars was significant as well. Isolation, confinement, and the ever-present danger created a unique set of stressors. We established robust mental health support systems, including regular counseling sessions, community activities, and virtual reality experiences that allowed settlers to visit Earth environments. These measures were crucial for maintaining morale and mental well-being. Supply chain management was another critical aspect of our daily lives. While we had made significant strides in developing local resources, we still relied on shipments from Earth for certain supplies and equipment. Coordinating these deliveries, which took months to arrive, required meticulous planning and contingency measures. Delays or losses could have serious repercussions, forcing us to be resourceful and adaptable. Despite these challenges, our community continued to grow and thrive. The initial settlers, once strangers from different parts of the world, had become a close-knit family. We celebrated our achievements together and supported each other through difficulties. The sense of shared purpose and camaraderie was a powerful motivator, driving us to persevere. One of the most remarkable aspects of our new home was the diversity of our population. People from various cultural backgrounds brought their traditions, foods, and languages to Mars, creating a vibrant tapestry of human experience. This diversity enriched our community, fostering a spirit of inclusivity and mutual respect. As we adapted to our new environment, we also began to leave our mark on the Martian landscape. Infrastructure projects, such as roads, tunnels, and greenhouses, expanded steadily. Each new construction was a testament to our progress and a symbol of our determination to build a lasting future on Mars. Education and research were at the heart of our efforts. Schools and universities played a crucial role in preparing the next generation of Martians. Children born on Mars, like Hope, grew up in an environment that was both familiar and extraordinary. They learned about Earth and Mars, their dual heritage shaping their identities and aspirations. Scientific research flourished in our new home. Mars offered a wealth of opportunities for discovery, from studying its geology and climate to exploring the potential for past or present life. Our researchers worked tirelessly, driven by curiosity and the desire to expand human knowledge. Their findings not only advanced our understanding of Mars, but also had implications for Earth and future space exploration. As the years passed, we saw significant improvements in our living conditions. The atmosphere continued to warm, and our terraforming efforts showed promising results. Small bodies of water began to form, and experimental open-air crops started to take root. These developments were milestones in our journey, bringing us closer to a fully self-sustaining presence on Mars. One of the most profound moments for our community was the establishment of the first permanent settlement, New Dawn. Located near a region rich in mineral resources and with access to underground water, New Dawn was designed to be a self-sufficient city. It featured advanced habitats, agricultural zones, and recreational facilities. The inauguration of New Dawn was a momentous occasion, celebrated with a ceremony broadcast to both Mars and Earth. The success of New Dawn inspired further expansion. More settlements were planned, each with its unique focus and contributions to our collective effort. These cities, interconnected by a network of transport systems, represented the foundation of a new civilization on Mars. Despite our progress, we remained acutely aware of the challenges ahead. The journey to transforming Mars into a fully habitable planet was long and fraught with uncertainties. However, the achievements we had made, and the community we had built, gave us the confidence and resolve to keep pushing forward. As I stood on the observation deck of New Dawn, looking out over the growing city and the Martian landscape beyond, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment. We had come a long way from the heat-ravaged Earth we had left behind. Mars, once a distant dream, had become our new home. The journey was far from over, but with each step we moved closer to a future where humanity could thrive on two worlds. Our success in transforming Mars into a habitable environment brought a new set of challenges and unforeseen consequences. As our population grew and our settlements expanded, we faced complex issues that tested our adaptability and resilience in ways we had not anticipated. One of the most immediate concerns was the ecological impact of our terraforming efforts. While we had taken great care to preserve the Martian environment, the introduction of Earth-based plants, microorganisms, and materials began to have unintended effects. Changes in soil composition, the spread of non-native species, and alterations to the local climate raised questions about our long-term environmental stewardship. Our scientific community mobilized quickly to address these issues. Environmental monitoring systems were enhanced, and teams of ecologists and biologists conducted extensive research to understand and mitigate the impacts of our activities. We established protocols for the careful management of biological resources, emphasizing sustainability and respect for the Martian ecosystem. Social dynamics within our colonies also presented new challenges. As our population became more diverse and our settlements more complex, issues of governance, resource allocation, and social equity emerged. While our initial community had been united by a common purpose, the realities of daily life on Mars brought to the surface differences in priorities, values, and expectations. We responded by fostering open dialogue and inclusive decision-making processes. Community councils were established in each settlement, providing a platform for residents to voice their concerns and participate in governance. Education and cultural exchange programs were expanded to promote understanding and cohesion among diverse groups. Resource management became increasingly critical as our population grew. While we had made significant strides in developing local resources, the demand for food, water, and energy continued to rise. Advanced recycling and conservation measures were implemented, and research into alternative resources was intensified. Innovations in biotechnology, energy production, and materials science played a crucial role in enhancing our sustainability. One of the most profound consequences of our presence on Mars was the shift in human identity and culture. The children born on Mars, including Hope, represented a new generation with a unique connection to their environment. Their experiences, shaped by the dual heritage of Earth and Mars, gave rise to new cultural expressions, traditions, and ways of thinking. This cultural evolution was both exciting and challenging. As a community, we celebrated the emergence of a distinctly Martian identity while striving to maintain the connection to our earthly roots. Festivals, art, music, and literature flourished, reflecting the hybrid nature of our society. These cultural expressions became a source of pride and a way to navigate the complexities of our new reality. The psychological impact of living on Mars remained a significant concern. Despite our efforts to support mental health, the isolation, confinement, and constant awareness of risk took a toll on many settlers. We continued to develop and refine mental health support systems, emphasizing community engagement, recreational activities, and opportunities for creative expression. One of the most unexpected challenges was the political and economic dynamics that developed between Mars and Earth. As our colonies grew more self-sufficient and influential, questions of governance, representation, and economic exchange became more prominent. The relationship between Mars and Earth, initially one of dependence and collaboration, began to evolve into a more complex interplanetary dynamic. We navigated these changes with a commitment to cooperation and mutual benefit. Diplomatic channels were established to facilitate dialogue and negotiation between Martian settlements and Earth's governments. Trade agreements, research collaborations, and cultural exchanges were fostered to strengthen our interplanetary ties. The goal was to create a balanced relationship that respected the autonomy of Mars while acknowledging our shared destiny. As we faced these challenges and adapted to our new circumstances, the sense of collective purpose that had brought us to Mars continued to guide us. We remained committed to the vision of a thriving, sustainable, and inclusive Martian society. Our journey was far from over, but each obstacle we overcame brought us closer to realizing that vision. The unforeseen consequences of our endeavor served as a reminder of the complexity and unpredictability of creating a new world. They tested our resilience, adaptability, and ingenuity, but they also offered opportunities for growth, learning, and innovation. As we moved forward, we carried with us the lessons of our past and the hope for a brighter future. The years that followed were a period of unprecedented growth and transformation. Mars, once a distant and desolate frontier, had become a thriving hub of human civilization. Our settlements expanded into cities, our communities flourished, and our society evolved in ways we could only have imagined. One of the most significant milestones in our journey was the formal declaration of the Martian Commonwealth. This new political entity, representing the collective interests of our settlements, was established to govern and manage our growing population. The Commonwealth was founded on principles of democracy, inclusivity, and sustainability, with representatives elected from each settlement to participate in a planetary assembly. The establishment of the Martian Commonwealth marked a new era of self-governance and autonomy. It provided a framework for addressing the complex social, economic, and environmental challenges we faced. Policies were developed to promote equity, innovation, and resilience, ensuring that our growth was balanced and sustainable. Education and research remained at the heart of our society. Our universities and research centers became renowned for their contributions to science, technology, and the humanities. The unique environment of Mars inspired groundbreaking discoveries and innovations that benefited both our world and Earth. Collaborative projects, such as the joint Mars-Earth Climate Initiative, showcased the potential for interplanetary cooperation to address global challenges. Cultural evolution continued to shape our identity. The arts thrived, with Martian literature, music, and visual arts gaining recognition and acclaim. Festivals celebrating our dual heritage, Earth and Mars, became important cultural events, fostering a sense of unity and pride. These cultural expressions were not only a source of joy and inspiration, but also a means of navigating the complexities of our new reality. The physical transformation of Mars advanced steadily. Our terraforming efforts, though still in progress, had created pockets of habitable environments. Open-air farming became increasingly viable, and new settlements were established in regions once deemed uninhabitable. The sight of green fields and flowing water on the Martian surface was a testament to our perseverance and ingenuity. One of the most profound changes was the emergence of a distinct Martian identity. The children born on Mars, like Hope, grew up in a world that was both familiar and extraordinary. They saw themselves as Martians, with a deep connection to their environment and a unique perspective on their place in the universe. This new generation, unburdened by the limitations of the past, embodied the potential for a brighter future. As we looked to the future, we remained acutely aware of the lessons we had learned. The journey to Mars had taught us the importance of resilience, adaptability, and cooperation. We had faced immense challenges and unforeseen consequences, but we had also achieved remarkable successes. Our experience underscored the value of innovation, sustainability, and community. The relationship between Mars and Earth continued to evolve. While we had achieved a significant degree of self-sufficiency, our connection to Earth remained vital. Trade, communication, and cultural exchange fostered a sense of shared destiny. The collaboration between our worlds highlighted the potential for humanity to transcend planetary boundaries and work together for the common good. Looking back on our journey, I felt a deep sense of fulfillment and hope. We had accomplished what once seemed impossible, creating a new home for humanity on Mars. The challenges we faced had made us stronger, and the successes we achieved had shown us what was possible when we worked together. As I stood on the observation deck of New Dawn, watching the sun rise over the Martian horizon, I reflected on the journey that had brought us here. We had transformed a dream into reality, building a future that honored our past and embraced the possibilities of a new beginning. The journey was far from over. Each day brought new discoveries, new challenges, and new opportunities. But with each step, we moved closer to realizing the full potential of our new world. Mars, once a distant and desolate frontier, had become a place of hope, resilience, and possibility. The future of humanity was being written on its red sands, and it was a future reborn.